Hey guys, it's Matthew from Sling Pilot Academy. Welcome to day 5 of Oshkosh 2024. Today, we'll be showing you some inspiring interviews, including Stephanie Goetz, who flies the pink jet L-39 Albatros, Jimmy Graham and his de Havilland Beaver, and Major Boudier, who talks about the Harrier jump jet, as well as some other fun clips. Enjoy the video. I'm here with Stephanie, and the pink L-39 is behind us here. Can you tell us a little bit about the plane?
Absolutely. So the pink jet is this beautiful aircraft that is owned by Steve Oakley and his wife Jamie, who have a nonprofit called Aerial Angels. And their mission was, we don't just want to fly this in the air, we want to do it for a great cause and bring those two worlds of aviation and philanthropy together. And so what they did is they started that nonprofit, and the focus of this airplane is for it to fly on behalf of breast cancer survivors, those who've lost loved ones to disease, and be a beacon of hope for breast cancer awareness, as well as inspiring early detection and partnering with nonprofits that do research and provide other services for those struggling with breast cancer. So it's really meant to be this beautiful beacon of hope and light, and it's pretty.
That's amazing. How did you get involved with them?
I got involved. A former U.S. Air Force fighter pilot, she reached out to me and said, you have to get involved with this organization, because she knew that I fly L-39. So I had experience in it, and she said, you got to get involved. And I said, of course, I'd be happy to. So I'm one of the pilots, as well as Vicki Bensing, the iconic aerobatic air show pilot. And then we have some ferry pilots as well who help out.
What got you started in aviation? What inspired you to be where you are today?
Well, I never knew I was going to be a pilot. This was never a path that was planned. It was never on my radar, in fact. I was a newscaster for ABC, CBS, and NBC affiliates over the years. And when I was a news anchor and reporter at one of those stations, I got a call out of the blue from like an 82-year-old flight instructor. And he said, you have to do a story on aviation. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. I had no idea he was going to be throwing me in the left seat, and I'd be flying the airplane. As any good instructor knows, of course you do that. You put the newbie in the left seat. And as we took off and I pulled back on the controls for the first time, I just thought, where has this been all of my life? And who has been hiding aviation from me? That's what it felt like, because no one in my family is a pilot. I've been around airplanes, and I hadn't flown very much commercially, and certainly hadn't flown in a small airplane. So I had no idea that it really existed, and I counted myself out of that realm because I wasn't particularly good at that time, or strongly interested in STEM. Then once I felt the power and the controls and being able to have that freedom through flight, I was like, I'm hooked. And so then soon after, I got acquainted with those in the aviation community, got really involved, and then it wasn't until 5 years later, though, that I actually got my pilot's license and actually took the time to do that. But from that time, which was just 2019, I went from my 0 hours in a Piper Cherokee, flying that all the way up through commercial ratings, instrument, CFI, MEI, so multi-engine instruction, up through a jet type rating, and then soon after a seaplane rating in just over 2 years, about a year and a half. And so I went very, very quickly. I got the bug, got bit. I love it. I've been doing it ever since. How I got involved with L-39s was that I went to the Reno Air Races a few years ago, and a dear friend of mine, her and her husband, he is an iconic racer in the jet class, they let me fly back in their L-39 back to Vegas. And flying in that, I got that same feeling of, well, where has this been all my life? Okay, there was one thing to fly smaller aircraft, which are great, but fast, powerful, military trainer, like that's like nothing else. And so I really fell in love with the L-39s, and then my husband and I also got very into it, and so we purchased our own L-39, which is a blue L-39. She's just down the way here on the ramp. And so I was then flying L-39s, and then got involved with this Aerial Angels. So it really just comes full circle, and it's an amazing community of people that I feel so blessed to be a part of.
What is your favorite thing to do inside this plane?
Go inverted, obviously. Aerobatics, going inverted, doing the brake, the overhead, the initial is what it's called. That's one of my favorite moves and maneuvers. It's pretty basic and pretty simple, but as general aviation and private pilots, also I'm a commercial pilot. I fly professionally for the world's largest private jet company. I fly the Bombardier Global 6000, so I go all over the world. But the flying there is, of course, any sort of, typically in GA, And professional flying, you're flying in an ILS or you're flying in the RNAV or a visual at least straight in. When you get to do the brake, the overhead brake, it's a maneuver that is just this phenomenally amazing maneuver, and it's really fun. So that's doing those kinds of maneuvers in the airplane, having full control and really getting really solid stick and rudder skills through flying this just makes you a better pilot on all levels.
Do you have any advice for people out there that are considering aviation but haven't taken any steps yet?
Yes. We all start somewhere. We all start from 0 hours. You don't start just flying jets out of nowhere. It's like starting to ride a tricycle. You're not just going to go from that up to a Harley or a crotch rocket and do racing. You've got to ride a bike and then maybe a moped and something a little faster and then get up to that. So start somewhere and start the connections early on. So when I was early on in aviation, I just was doing a lot of talking, getting to know people around the airfield, hanging out at the FBO and getting to know people, and that is where the greatness of aviation happens. So talk to people at your airfield, get involved with the commemorative air forces at your airfield, or anyone who's flying in GA. If you start to have conversations with them, they're going to want you to be in this community and flying their airplane. And so being humble and kind and willing to learn and willing to lend a hand with a positive attitude and work hard, that's going to get you really far. Also, those who are going through primary training, it feels like forever to go through your primary ratings, it will eventually end. You will be done with all the primary ratings, and then after that it's recurrent or a new type rating or maybe a new plane, but it's not nearly as daunting. And so those going through it right now, just stick with it. It's tough for all of us. It's not like it's just a breeze for everyone, and maybe for some people, but most people have little challenges here and there, and that's what makes you a great aviator, is going, all right, I made either a mistake or I didn't do well at that, and here is how I'm going to get better by applying myself, learning how to do it better, and then being excellent the next time around.
That's great. I'm sure our students will be happy to hear that it does get better.
Yes, it gets so much better. In fact, many of us who are years removed from the primary training, you kind of go, oh, that wasn't so bad. And in it, you're like, this is terrible. This is very hard. Or you're just struggling with a certain concept or certain aspect of flying. It will get better. You will get it. Even if it takes you 2 or 3 or 4 times to learn it, you can only retain so much. So give yourself some grace, and you have to have people around you. There's no way I'd be where I'm at without so many aviators, males and females, in the aviation community who are willing to invest in me and be patient with me in areas that I needed a little extra help with. And so that's really important, to have them be there for your successes, for your wins, and also support you as you're going through things.
Okay, last question. For our young women viewers out there, what does it mean to be a woman aviator to you?
It's a couple of things, but ultimately, we are a pilot just like anyone else. The plane doesn't know if you're male or female. It just knows whether you're a good pilot or not. There is another aspect, though, that I think women bring, is I do think that we're incredibly good at being detail-oriented and multitasking, which is key at being an aviator. You have to look around the flight deck and the cockpit and say, are these switches in the right place? Or there's something a little bit off with our hydraulics or some other system, and knowing and spotting those details. And also, I think women are phenomenally good at stick and rudder. I mean, there's so many great aerobatic pilots out there, and commercial pilots and GA pilots that are female, and we're certainly at the same level as our male counterparts. And so many men have helped me be exceptional in this industry. I would not be who I am today without them, and I'm so grateful for them. And so when we start to see it too as that we can be on a level playing field, that also there is an abundance of opportunities, even when there is even when there's a shortage of jobs, there's still an abundance of opportunities. There can be men, there can be women, there can be all walks of life, and all of us together can do this together. Also, when people talk about diversity in the flight deck, and it's not just the right thing to do, because it is the right thing to do, it's also a safety aspect as well. So when you have diversity in the flight deck, you have a diversity of experiences. So I might see something that you don't, or vice versa. And so when we have people that bring different experiences, it creates a safer flight deck and overall a safer mission. The other thing that I love about being a female in aviation is that we can be fabulous and fierce. I mean, I am flying a pink jet in a pink flight suit and owning it, just like it is an olive or a tan flight suit. It doesn't matter. We can absolutely show that flair and that piece of us, whether you're male man or woman. If you want to show any sort of flair, you can. At the end of the day, what matters is, are you safe? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to be humble and have a great positive attitude and work hard at this and be part of the community? That's what makes a great aviator. We also have an immense team around us of people who have given and donated so much. We would not be here today without those who've donated immensely. So Dean Baldwin Painting donated to this airplane, and they donated the painting for it. It took about just a little over a week. We also had the paint donated as well. We've had these patches that were made by Plain Old Art. She is a phenomenal F-16 pilot, and she made these patches, badass patches in Mach 1. They're also supporting us with these. And Code 1 Aviation. They are really the premier mechanics for L-39s, and they have donated a lot of their time, their resources, and their talent for this to get up and flying, as well as other A&Ps, other pilots, myself included. It's just this labor of love, and so many people have been coming up all around from all over the world and saying this is so inspiring.
Well, thank you for doing this interview, and thank you for all that you do for the aviation community.
I'm delighted to and honored to. Thanks so much.
Can I interview you? Have any words, Michelin Man? Got nothing. You flying in this plane right behind us? Oh, he's a little big to fit in that, I guess. You flying commercial then? Perfect. I'm here with Major Boudier. Can you tell us a little bit about the plane that we're standing here in front of?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm with Marine Attack Squadron 231, also known as VMA 231, and we fly the AV-8B Harrier 2+.
And what makes the Harrier Jet so special?
Okay, so obviously referred to as a jump jet. It has a vertical landing capability and a short takeoff capability that we use all the time. It's shipboard capable. Primary mission set's going to be air to surface. We dabble in everything around that, but very challenging aircraft to fly. It's no fly-by-wire. Stick and rudder skills are all required for this platform. Very rewarding aircraft to fly as well.
And I heard somebody saying that potentially these were going to be not used anymore at some point.
Yeah, they're phasing them out. We still have 2 operational squadrons right now, and we have Marines that are deployed right now with AV-8Bs with a couple more cycles in the chute. So once all that's done, a couple of years from now, will be when they start to look to divest those assets.
What are its capabilities?
We are a up to 1.0 Mach aircraft. I would not recommend that personally. So subsonic aircraft, loves the low altitude environment, high speed, turns well. Everything's kind of tuned for sea level just due to the nature of what was designed. Outside of that, we're running normal tactical air speeds at altitude, just everything that's sub-Mach. And it kind of depends on the mission set, whether we're doing air to surface or any kind of air to air regime. But tactically, something up well above 350 knots indicated, and then something around the 0.7 to 0.8 Mach once we are at higher altitudes where we'd like to live at.
Very cool. And what is your favorite thing to do in this plane?
Combat sorties. So you take everything that you have done as a young pilot, all the building block approach, partial task training events, and then all of that culminates into a evolution that lasts anywhere from 6.5 to 8.5 hours, where you take off of a ship, load it up, you climb up, you meet a tanker, you do air-to-air refueling, transit 700 miles, talk to the troops on the ground, do that for a couple hours, tanker, back, and then do a nighttime recovery wearing NVGs to a ship, all completely blacked out, and recover safely. So it's a culminating event. There's no replacing that if you're going to do that.
That sounds amazing. I mean, yeah, like you said, nothing can replace that. And for anyone who's watching that might be considering doing something like you and joining the Marines, what do you have to say to them?
I would say if you know what you want to fly, be number one in every class that you're in, and then you'll get to do it.
Awesome. Great advice. Thank you.
Absolutely. Pleasure.
You came all the way here from Arizona?
Yeah.
Come with your family?
Yeah.
Commercially?
No.
You flew in your own plane?
No.
What's been your favorite thing at the air show so far?
Big planes.
Like warplanes or what kind?
Warplanes.
Nice.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey guys, we're really excited to be here with a very special person, with Jimmy Graham. He is the co-chairman of the EAA Young Eagles program, and we're really grateful to have the opportunity to chat with him. Jimmy, tell us a little bit about you and the Young Eagles program.
One, thank you for having me. Obviously, we're at Oshkosh here. It's been a beautiful year so far. We kind of had a photo flight canceled this morning, but we'll be able to make it up on Friday. So last night we actually did the transfer over, where now I'm the chairman of Young Eagles. Sean Tucker's going to be retiring. He's going to be still involved. We're close friends. For me, I'm very excited about this, and to be able to really take over as chairman of Young Eagles and try to follow Sully, Sean Tucker, and everyone who's been the chairman before me. It's an incredible program that gives flights to kids between the ages of 8 and 17. And we've done it in the Beaver, we've done it in Extra, we've done it in through my foundation. It's called the JG Foundation. We rebuilt a Huey that fought in the Vietnam War. So instead of being able to take one kid, we can take the whole family, which has been pretty special. But over the years, the opportunities that we've been able to create through Young Eagles, we've created so many pilots, even mechanics, over the past several years. And in the past 30, we've had almost 3 million free flights through the Young Eagles program, which is unbelievable. So, now we're doing a whole online portal for registration. That's all going to be dropped. Right now it's in beta phase, but it'll be dropped in November, towards the end of the year, which makes it easier for the pilots. And hopefully we can get Sling involved to be able to provide these flights. There's nothing like giving back, and really the grassroots aviation and what this event is about is creating that spark in these young kids, giving them these opportunities, and really this eye-opening experience that a lot of kids don't get. If you guys would like to know more about it, please go online with EAA and get involved. Get involved with the future of aviation, which changes the minds of our youth, and there's no better time than now to be able to spark that interest within our youth, because most of them are stuck watching 15-second videos. So you go from most kids watching a 15-second video and thinking they understand life, to now you put them in an aircraft and they have these smells, these feels that are truly transforming, and get them outside and get them into what is a lifetime hobby and love, and usually a career. Yeah, when it comes to Young Eagles, you need a pilot's license and access to any aircraft. Through that, when you go online, there's a registration. You have to be an EAA member first, and then you do a little online course, and EAA will send you the packets. It comes with logbooks for the kids, comes with certificates, all these little giveaways. Is really cool. We consider ourselves just this little army that goes around and changes these lives. But even if you don't have a pilot's license, there's ways to get involved as far as volunteering at the events.
At Sling Pilot Academy, one of our biggest missions and our challenges is to reach out to people who may not think so, and kind of let them know that they can make a choice to get into aviation. And our biggest challenge is letting people know that it is available to them and that they can do it. It's not, aviation is not something for other people or for wealthy people. And so our mission to reach people, let them know it's available to them, and allow them to uplift their lives through aviation, literally and as a career and for life development. We understand that that's something that's really close to your heart, yeah. And that you have a foundation that does just that.
Yeah, so my foundation is the JG Foundation. We give memorial flights for veterans, but our main purpose is, through EAA Young Eagles, is we fly a lot of underprivileged kids. We expose them to the aerospace technology industry and the job opportunities that it provides. With that, is that Rob? Rob's going by. You might want to swing the camera on that.
How come he gets to fly and we don't?
Yeah, not a better pilot.
Yeah,
he's the best pilot in the world.
He's the best, yeah, no doubt.
Through my foundation and through the Young Eagles program, we've been able to bring a group of kids in, either owned by the state, some homeless, or just kids who are underprivileged, and we expose them to the opportunities when the aerospace technology industry. We bring in my mechanic. My mechanic explains them the job opportunities that are available there. Before we even go on the flight, I have a Boston Dynamics robot. We teach them about robotics. And I always like to push kids into the trades. Right now the trades are lacking. So what it creates is these great job opportunities after 2 years of tech school. It's incredible the work that you guys do, and you guys have really come to the forefront of allowing aviation to be cost effective. And So I'm looking forward to hopefully you guys get involved, and I'm looking forward to seeing if 6-7 fits in a sling. So
we'll have to try it out. That's amazing. I think yeah, we would love to get more involved with Young Eagles and everything that you're doing. And we're standing in front of a really special airplane. This is something that you've obviously put a lot of energy into it. Can you tell us a little bit about this airplane?
Yeah, it's a de Havilland DHC-2 Beaver. I actually purchased this from a junkyard in Canada. The backstory to me becoming a seaplane pilot was, so I got traded from New Orleans to Seattle. My first week on the job, this older gentleman shows up to the facility after practice, and he just walks up to me and said, "Hey, my name's John Nordstrom." So it ended up being John Nordstrom. He used to own the team. He sold it to Paul Allen, but Paul and him were still good friends, so he was always around the team. And he said, "Oh, I heard you're a pilot. Have you ever done seaplanes?" That day he flew in, so we went on the dock and we flew a Beaver. It was incredible. It was his. He usually keeps it in front of his house. So the next weekend I get my seaplane license. A few months later I ended up purchasing this. It was literally sitting outside for years. This fought in Vietnam. It was a officer get around. Underneath the plane actually is still the camera hatch hole. So this was a surveillance vehicle over there. And after it was in Vietnam, it was resold surplus back here, and then it was resold and built and working for a fishing lodge out of Canada. So it took Kenmore Air 5,000 man hours to rebuild this. It was a wild process to see it happen. But you know, we brought basically 1957s back to life. This is actually the ski gear for it. You can see the hydraulics run through here. We had to really change this whole thing so the hydraulics would run down. And then I have bush tires for this. I have another gear for this, and I also have the amphibs set up. So this is, I think, the only Beaver in the Continental 50 with all three setups. I've landed on frozen lakes here. I lived in Washington. This is in front of my house. I used to fly this to work when I was with the Seahawks, and now it's on wheels down in Miami. So.
Wow, that's amazing. So can you show us some other features of the airplane, or maybe inside the airplane?
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, we'll start here.
Yeah.
This right here is actually an original gas cap of what this was painted in Vietnam. So we got a hold of this. This is incredible. We had to refurbed a little bit, but we kept it still hand painted. And this was wild because this was actually on it. This used to take 87, 91, or 93, which is pretty special. So we kept that basically original. A lot of people go with this kind of like a gray or a brown, but we blacked it out for the military aspect of it. Touchscreen 750, and then up there I got a 650. Because we were flying a lot, this plane, instead of knots, is still in miles per hour, because back when they were trying to make planes more like cars. So that's pretty unique. So up there is the original bomb panel. So this used to have 2 bombs on each side. If you actually flick these, they'll all turn on. So all the lights work. And then if you want, I'll show you the engine. This is a R985 radial. It's supercharged. And what this engine provides for this aircraft with a STOL wing is unbelievable performance getting off the ground and getting back on the ground. It doesn't go very fast, but it'll run all day. And these old radials, not only do they burn fuel, but they burn oil. So I burn a quart of oil an hour. So every time I land, I put a gallon of oil back in it. That's why anybody who has a Beaver, when you watch him, he's gonna have 10 gallons of oil with him as well. That's the biggest part of the weight and balance, is how much oil you're carrying. So
it's a lot of love has to go into getting an airplane like this going again.
So here's the build book right here. So this Beaver was surplus. It was bought out of Vietnam. This guy bought 64 of these Beavers and resold them. After that, it went to a fishing lodge in Canada, and this is what it looked like when I first got it. So it came on this truck. The tail section or the rudder was inside. Here's the panel, what it used to look like. This is the engines that you just saw, and it was really a mess. So Kenmore got to work, and over a period of a year and 5,000 man hours, it slowly started to turn into a plane again. And then this is when it came out of paint. Out of paint, that's actually John Nordstrom. So he's the guy who introduced me to seaplanes. He introduced me to Beavers. He's got 2 of them in front of his house on Lake Washington. Incredible human, awesome pilot. And this is when we slung it up on the amphibs. And that's it. So this is the Seahawks facility. This is actually me and Sean Tucker. This is the first time we ever met. He's sitting here in the right seat, so it was pretty nostalgic being able to send him off yesterday as well. And my parking spot at the Seahawks facility was right here, which is really cool. So,
thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about you and your passions and your airplanes, and I really appreciate everything that you're doing, and an honor to meet you.
Yes, sir. Great to meet you.
Thank you so much.
You guys are ever down in Miami, let me know.
Yeah.
Come by the hangar. We'll fly this, or we'll fly the Huey.
Yeah.
But really the one everybody wants is the extra.
Yeah.
So I'll take you up and
Yeah.
we'll pull 8 Gs, negative and positive, and I'll send you home with a bag. So,
Yeah. You're sending me home with my eyeballs in a bag.
yeah.
Thanks for watching. We hope that we inspired some of you young aviators out there. Drop us a comment to let us know what your favorite part of the show has been so far. And don't forget to tune in for tomorrow's video.